that. Okay. So let's start reading special properties of arithmetic progression. Okay. Write in your notebook. Special properties of arithmetic progression. Number one, on adding a constant to all the terms of an AP, on adding a constant to all the terms of an AP, the resultant sequence is also an AP with the same common difference. On adding a constant to all the terms of an AP, the resultant progression is also an AP. Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
On adding a constant to all the terms of an AP, the resultant progression is also an AP. For example, if an AP is given by, we write it as AP1, original AP. 3 plus 5, 8 plus 5, 13 plus 5, 18. So first term is 3 and common difference is 8 minus 3 equals to 5 throughout the sequence. Now if we form an AP by adding a constant, let's add 7 to all the terms. So the first term will become 3 plus 7, 10. Next will be 15. 13 plus 5, 13 plus 7, 20. 18 plus 7, 25 and so on. Now if we write A will be changed. And common difference will remain the same. It is very clear that when we subtract 10 from 15, it is 5. Means common difference remains the same. So this is an important property of an AP that, and on adding a constant to all the terms of an AP, the resultant progression is also an AP with the same common difference. This is very important. With the same common difference. Number 2. Property number. Have you written this? Have you written this? So the second property is on subtracting in place of adding. Now it is on subtracting. In place of adding, we write only subtracting. On subtracting a constant to all the terms of an AP, the resultant progression is also an AP with the same common difference. For example, if AP1 is 5, 9, 13, 17, and so on, and if we subtract a constant, means first term is 5, and common difference 9 minus 5 equals to 4, and if we subtract 2 from all the terms, from all the terms, three, 7, 13 minus 2, 11, 17 minus 2, 15, and so on. So only first term will be changed. It is now 3 in place of 5. And common difference remains the same. 7 minus 3, 4. 11 minus 7, 4. 15 minus 11, 4. Is that clear to you? Common difference also remains the same. Now the third property, slightly different. The first line is same. On multiplying, in place of subtracting and addition, this time we write on multiplying a constant to all the terms of an AP. The resultant progression is also an AP. The resultant sequence is also an AP with the common difference also multiplied by the same constant. Common difference, the multiple of or common difference, also the constant times means the same constant is multiplied to the original common. Constant times the original common difference. Constant times the original difference means if we multiply whole terms, all the terms of AP with 3, the common difference will also be multiplied by 3. For example, if AP is given by 1 by 2, 3 by 4, 1, 5 by 4, 3 by 2, and so on. So first term is half. Common difference 3 by 4 minus half. 3 by 4 minus 2 by 4. That is 1 by 4. Now if you multiply all the terms, eight. If we multiply all the terms by 8, So first term is 8 into half, 4. 8 into 3 by 4, 6. 8 into 5 by 4, 8 into 1, 8. 8 into 5 by 4, 10. 8 into 3 by 2, 12, and so on. So this time, the first term is again 4. And the common difference is 6 minus 4 equals to 2, which is equal to 8 times the previous common difference. 4 twos are 8. Is that clear to everyone? If anyone has doubt, then you can ask in chat. You can comment. Write your comment if you have any doubt. Division also. Though we cannot divide by a 0, means a non-zero constant. This time we have to write if a non-zero constant is means if on dividing all the terms of an AP by a non-zero constant, the resultant AP is also a new AP with common difference obtained by dividing the common difference of the original AP by the same constant. Is that clear to you? So write this in your notebook. If all the terms of an AP are divided by a constant the resultant progression is also an AP with common difference equals to the common difference divided by common difference of original AP. Okay. And this time you have to write the example yourself. Okay. Now the next property. Finding three consecutive terms of an AP. Three consecutive terms of an AP, that is, means we can assume them as middlemost is A, and a term before that is A minus D, and a term after that is A plus D. So whenever there is a question that find three consecutive terms of an AP, then we assume it as, let the three consecutive terms be A minus D, A and A plus D. So it will be easier to determine the three consecutive terms. If we want to find four consecutive terms, of an AP, as there are four terms which we have to find: A1, A2, A3 and A4. While in previous case there are only three: A1, A2 and A3. So A2 is the middlemost, so it is very easier to take A. But this time A2 and A3, two middlemost terms are there. Understood? There are two middlemost terms, A2 and A3. For this, we assume one of them as A minus D and other as A plus D. So A minus D and A plus D are two middlemost terms. Now, if you find the difference between them, so determine. Can you tell what will be the common difference between them? What will be the difference? It's not common, but we have to make it common. So what is the difference between these two terms, A minus D and A plus D? Think about this. What will be the difference between A3 minus A2 when we have taken the middlemost terms as A minus D and A plus D? So subtract it. Yes. You must have subtracted. Very good. And it is A cancelled out, 2D. So think about the first term. What will be the first term now? A1. We have to subtract 2D from this, A minus D. So A minus D minus 2D, that is A minus 3D. And similarly, we have to add 2D to the third term. So it is A plus D plus 2D, that is A plus 3D. So whenever you have to take four consecutive terms of an AP, you have to assume that they are A minus 3D, A minus D, A plus D and A plus 3D. And if you are not able to remember this, then first you take A minus D, A plus D, then think about their common difference, it will be 2D. So subtract 2D from the first, it's A minus D minus 2D is by A minus 3D. And add 2D to the next, so A plus D plus 2D, it is A plus 3D. Okay. So it can be easily remembered by this trick. And the most of all, the most important trick is whenever there is odd number of terms, like 5 terms, you have to take middlemost as D only. If you want to find 5 terms, you have to take middlemost as A only, and D will be the common difference. So 2 terms before that will be A minus D and A minus 2D. And 2 terms after that will be A plus D and A plus 2D. So there are 5 terms in all. When there are odd number of terms, 5 is odd. So middlemost must be A. But if there are even number of terms, like finding 6 terms, so middlemost terms will be 2 and we always take them A minus D and A plus D. And the common difference will be 2D. So the previous term will be obtained by A minus 3D. And A minus 3D minus 2D, it is again A minus 5D. And next terms after A plus D is obtained by adding 2d. So a plus 3d and a plus 5d. Is that clear to everyone? So these are the common properties which we must use to find the results of the arithmetical problems. So remember, whenever three terms are in AP, like if A, B and C are in AP, then we know that their common difference are equal, means what? Means B minus A equals to C minus B. This is the ninth property. If A, B, C are in AP, then we know that common difference between first two. We cannot say this common difference, only difference of two. B minus A must be equal to difference of the next two, and then it is common difference. Difference is common, that's why it is called common difference. Now if we write both B's in same side, so B plus B, and transfer the other terms to the same side, C is already there and A is transferred to right hand side. So it is 2B equals to A plus C. It means that if three terms are in AP, then twice the mean equals to sum of the extremes. Twice the mean equals to the sum of extremes. Is that clear to you? Twice the mean equals to sum of extremes. This is the next property. If ABC are in AP, then twice the mean equals to sum of extremes. You can observe this in our assumption, which we have assumed to find the three consecutive terms of an AP. If we add first A minus D and the last A plus D, D will be cancelled out. The mean is twice of A. Is that clear to you? So if ABC are in AP, then twice the mean equals sum of extremes. Okay. Next property is finding the AP when its sum is given. Finding AP when sum of n terms is given as Sn. We denote sum of n terms as Sn, capital Sn. Okay. So how to find an AP when sum of n terms is given? First we find first term, A1. So if sum of n terms is given, remember it must be in terms of n only. Is that clear to you? For example, telling you an example also with this. For example, it is given that sum of n terms of an AP is 5n square plus 4. It is always second degree term in n, means power of n is 2. This is also a property that sum of n terms of an AP is always second degree expression in n. Second degree expression in n means it has power of 2 over n. Finding AP when sum of n terms is given as Sn. You can write it. Note that the sum of n terms of an AP is always a second degree expression. in n. That is power of n in that expression will be 2. Like in this, for example, sum of n terms of an AP is 5n square plus 4. So power of n in this is 2. So how to find the first term A1? A1 means S1. If you find the sum of one term is nothing, it is the first term only. A1 equals to S1. Writing S1 means in place of n, we will substitute 1. It is Sn means sum of n terms. It's 5n square plus 4. So sum of one term only will be given by substituting 1 in place of n. 5 into 1 square plus 4. That is 5 plus 4 equals to 9. So sum of n terms of an AP is always denoted by second degree expression in n, which we have assumed that 5n square plus 4. So if we find the first term A1, it is the sum of one term only. Sum of one term is nothing. It is the first term itself. No one can add a single term. So 9 is the first term of that AP. A1 is S1. A2 will be obtained by subtracting sum of one term from the two terms. A3 is obtained by subtracting sum of three terms from the sum of previous two terms. So fourth term will be obtained by subtracting sum of three terms from the sum of four terms. For example, if A1, A2, A3, look at this, A4, A5 is a series. So how will you find first term? It is A1 itself. Now how will you find the second term? If sum of all the n terms is given. So first you find the sum of terms up to two terms. Sum of two terms. Only this, A1 plus A2. Sum of two terms means A1 plus A2. And if you subtract A1 only means first term, it will give A2. If sum of three terms A1 plus A2 plus A3 is given as S3. Okay. And if you subtract sum of two terms means first two terms A1 plus A2. So they will be cancelled out on subtracting, means S3 minus S2 is equal to A3 only. Is that clear to you? So remember this. A1 equals to X1. A2 equals to S2 minus S1. A3 equals to S3 minus S2. A4 equals to S4 minus S3. And if you want to find the nth term, it will be obtained by subtracting the sum of n minus 1 terms from the sum of n terms clearly. Sum of first term is equal to S1. Second term S2 minus S1. When there is 2, 2 minus 1. When there is 3, 3 minus 2. When there is n, n minus 1. Means sum of n terms minus sum of n minus 1 terms. Means what? If you want to find the second term in this example, you should find S2 minus S1. So first find S1. S1 is 5 into 1 square plus 4. 5 plus 4, 9. A1 equals to S1. Also find S2. S2 means replacing n by 2. 5 into 2 square plus 4. So 5 4s are 20. 2 square is 4. 5 into 4. 5 4s are 20 plus 4, 24. If you find S3, 5 into 3 square plus 4 in place of n in the formula of Sn. It is the formula of Sn now. 5n square plus 4. So S3 is 5 into 3 square plus 4. 9 5s are 45 plus 4, it is 49. If you find S4, sum of 4 terms, it will be obtained by replacing n with 4. 5 16s are 80 plus 4, 84. These are the sum only. Now how to find second term? Second term is obtained by S2 minus S1. S2 we have calculated 24 and S1 is 9. So 24 minus 9, it is 15. A3 equals to S3 minus S2. S3 is 49 and S2 is 24. So it is 25.